Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
Welcome back to Working Fans Presents Horror Business, episode 19, where today we are going to be talking about the horror classic, The Hills Have Eyes. Now, I hope you're familiar with this movie going in because this movie is wild. Now, we've talked about a lot of horror movies on here where PG-13, they can do a lot with it to get creepy. This uses every bit of its R rating, and it is a jarring experience. It's intense. Directed by Wes Craven, came out in 1977. R rating, hour and 30 minutes, so it hits that sweet spot. Had a budget of $230,000. Now, that's ridiculously low, given what we've seen, what it costs to make most movies. Now, in this movie, a family going to California accidentally goes through an air testing range closed to the public. They crash and are stranded in a desert where they begin to be stalked by a group of people which have not emerged into modern times. Just think about driving in the middle of nowhere, breaking down, and then instead of getting help, finding locals that are 1, less than normal, and 2, less than welcoming. In this movie, Susan Lanier plays Brenda Carter. Robert Houston plays Bobby Carter. John Stedman plays Fred. Janice Blythe plays Ruby. Peter Locke plays Mercury. Russ Grieve plays Big Bob Carter, the father of this whole group. Virginia Vincent is Ethel Carter, the mother of this group. Dee Wallace plays Lynn Wood. Brenda Marinoff plays Katie. Martin Spear plays Doug Wood. James Whitworth plays Jupiter. Michael Bergman plays Pluto. Laura Gordon plays Mars, or Lana Gordon. Cordy Clark plays Mom, and Flora plays Beauty. Now, this is an intense horror movie. This is like any of the other movies we've watched so far, turned up to 10. Even more intense than Ring, or The Ring, which I thought was a pretty heavy movie. This is a perfect 70s horror movie. The premise alone, like I said, is creepy enough, breaking down in the middle of nowhere. I'm trying to put myself in the headspace of what it would have been like to see this movie when it came out. Would it have been groundbreaking? Because we've seen much gorier things now, and this still seems to shock. It is a classic, and it got an IMDb rating of 6.3 out of 10. And you know what else is a classic is these mid-show reads. And please, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please like, rate, review, subscribe. Be sure to catch tomorrow's episode where we will be doing the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. And all this is brought to you by the Pro Wrestling Vault Volume 1 and Lance by Chance, written by Vinnie Barry, available at WrestleVille.com. And the rest of the following books I'm going to list here are all available on Amazon.com, including Super Vows and Pas de Deux, written by friend of the show, Kevin Kelton. I'll Be Here All Week and All That's Left, written by Ward Anderson, as well as his stand-up special, Blood and Fire, the unbelievable real-life story of wrestling's original Sheik, written by Brian R. Solomon, How Not to Suck at Comedy by Pat Oates, and Matt Memories, written by John Alexander and Greg Oliver. If you're an artist in Connecticut looking for studio time, check out the great people over at Connecticut People Records. And heck, it's a Sunday night. You've gotten everything you wanted to do this weekend, work starting tomorrow. Why not relax with some pro wrestling over at New Heights Wrestling YouTube channel, where you can hear the man called Dave and myself call some wrestling there. It's my favorite time of the show. Fun facts, little things you might not know about the movie. Now, the similarities to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in this movie were intentional. Wes Craven was a huge fan of Tobe Hooper's work. He considered his film in part an homage to it. The MPAA initially gave the film an X rating, which would have relegated it to the porn circuit and severely hurt box office returns. Wes Craven cut the film enough to secure an R rating. The original director's cut is thought to no longer be in existence. I believe that Wes Craven said a lot of what was cut was due to the girls screaming in the trailer scene when the family invades. Now, Wes Craven's original title for the film was Blood Relations. Producer Peter Locke, however, disliked the title. Numerous titles were then considered, and the film tested best under the title The Hills Have Eyes, though Craven himself originally disliked the title. Janice Blythe said Wes Craven kept insisting she be covered in more dirt throughout the shooting because she looked too pretty to have been living in the desert all her life. According to Wes Craven, the film was shot on cameras rented from a famous California pornographer. Producer Peter Locke has a memorable cameo as Mercury, the gang member with the feathered headdress who appears twice throughout the film. First at Fred's garage, and then communicating with Mars and Pluto using a U.S. Air Force radio. Now, the locations for this film were 30 miles from civilization, and the cast and crew had to cram themselves in Winnebagos to be driven to the location. And although Brenda is Lynn's younger sister in the film, Susan Lanier was born over a year before Dee Wallace. Now, I hope you're enjoying these, and let us know in the comments what horror movies you like. Have we covered something you would like us to see? Have you disliked any of the reviews we've done? And, if you got any facts about these movies that we haven't, send them in to us in the comments, and we'll do an episode airing those. But please just subscribe, rate, review wherever you can, and just hit that notification bell. So whenever the Working Fans Podcast, Working Fans Combat Cast, Working Fans Presents puts out a video, you're up to date with it. We will join you again tomorrow for the Hills